Everybody's track does get dirty to some degree, no matter how careful you are. And there's a number of different ways that you can tackle cleaning that track. But when you build your model railway, quite often it's tempting to make fullest use of the space, building tunnels, having track right at the back. And before you know it, you find that actually you've made it really difficult to clean all that track when it gets a bit grubby. Well, hello there. So great to see you, and I hope you are well. I'm Jenny Kirk, and I'm welcoming you here to Weir Yard, where today we're talking about track cleaning. And it's not just the electrical continuity that's affected on locomotives, it can be grip as well. And quite often I find up here on Weir Yard that trains will run quite happily at the start of a session, but slowly over time they seem to want to pull less and less, and there's certain bits of gradients that show up where a model will just sort of slip to a halt. What can be done about these, and what products are there on the market? Well, thanks to TMC and their autumn sale, they've actually sent over a number of track cleaning cars. These are from the Bachmann US range, but they are UK outline vans, and I think these are for tying in with the Thomas the Tank Engine range. But TMC have very kindly sent 4 of these over, and we're going to be putting them through their paces and see just what they offer in terms of track cleaning. Do they make it easier, and are they worth getting one of these maybe to make track cleaning on your layout potentially a doddle? So no more of those track cleaning rubbers that leave detritus all over your track and grubby horrible black fingers and just generally wear down, and you end up hurting your fingers on the ballast actually when you slip. So we're going to be putting these through their paces and see just how well they do. Now today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support comes from
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model double O gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com and don't miss out on your latest loco.
But first, I would like to ask a bit of a favour. Do please hit that like button and consider perhaps sharing this video to social media to share it with other people. And if you haven't already done so, do please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell to be the first to know about new video content as and when it goes up. You'll also find a link to Patreon down below, just near our merch store, and where we've got multiple tiers of rewards to suit anybody and everybody who wants to help support the channel to keep us making the videos that you want to see. And a huge thank you to everybody who has supported the channel, and we do have at the end of the video a title card with the names of everybody who's pledged $5 or more. So thank you so much. But today onwards with our video about track cleaning, and need it really be a chore? Well, thanks to the TMC autumn sale with a link down below for the products featured today, we're going to be putting the Bachmann USA track cleaning car to the test. Does this make the job a whole lot easier? Is it a much better way of doing it? And is it something that you should consider adding to your fleet? Well, today we're going to put them to the test. Onwards and upwards. Let's get to it and get some track cleaned. When it comes to track cleaning, there's a number of different methods, and the one up until now that I've tended to use are the Pico track cleaning rubbers, and that's a fairly new one, but you can see they do get really grubby, and that very quickly gets off on your fingers, and as they wear down, that ends up in your ballast with a lot of muck and gunge. And that can also add to the railhead issues. If it gets caught up in oil, then it just gums things up, can get between the point blades. And it isn't necessarily as well the case that you can gain good access to a lot of your layout. As we said in the introduction, that you've got things like tunnels, you may have tracks that are just sort of beyond comfortable reach, or maybe you've got catenary or gantries or bridges that just make accessing the track difficult and put you at risk of damaging some of your scenery items. And that's where this product has caught my eye, and they've very kindly been sent over from TMC, and they're part of the TMC sale. And these come from Bachmann USA, hence the premium HO scale silver series rolling stock written on there. But whilst these look like UK outline brake vans, there's something a little bit more going on with these. These are actually, if we take a look at the end of the box there, HO track cleaning British brake vans, and it's interesting that Bachmann have used the older tooling for the brake vans when it got upgraded. These kind of got cascaded to the Thomas the Tank Engine range, which at the time Bachmann held the license for everywhere apart from the UK. Now they have now gained the license for the UK as well, but there's a number of the older Bachmann UK items kind of made it over into the Bachmann Thomas range. And I suppose that stands to reason. Old tooling and might not be up to modern detail standards, but certainly a lot more life left in it. Now, I'm just going to get these out of the packaging, which is somewhat different to the packaging which we normally get here in the UK. And the first thing which strikes me is that these are incredibly shiny. That's a very gloss finish that has gone onto these, and I suspect that is in part for these to match up with the Thomas the Tank Engine range, but also in part these have cleaning pads on the bottom, and it may well be if you're using something like isopropyl alcohol, the gloss paint just gives a little bit more resilience to that eating its way into the decoration. Now these come with metal wheels, and these aren't like the metal wheels that I remember them having when these were part of the main range. And if you're wondering about the older style couplings, that's because the Thomas the Tank Engine range in the US uses this style of coupling. And even though they're billed as being HO, I think that's more a case of HO being the scale that people understand over there, and it's probably the case that an awful lot of people in the States never really heard of 00, so billing them as HO makes more sense. Now we've got 4 different liveries here. Just before I get them all out of the box, I'll just show you the ends of the boxes with the catalogue numbers. This is the Network Southeast version, and then we've got the Signal and Telegraph version, it's basically SatLink. And then we've also got this one, Electrification, which on the end here it just says departmental, but that's olive green electrification. So I'm just going to get these out of the box. Sold over here as straight up track cleaning cars, and you can see underneath we've got a change to what these brake vans had when they were part of the UK range. We've got a couple of screws, and that gives quite a degree of movement to this plate, which has slid into it, and you can just slide it in and out if you need to. This very, very hard foam, and it's difficult to kind of place this material. It does have some give to it, but I guess it has a degree of abrasion to get through any tough spots of dirt, but at the same time a degree of absorbency. So I'm going to add some IPA to this. I'm going to be quite careful because I don't want to get it all over the brake van, and for that purpose what I'm going to use is a syringe, and that will allow me to very, very carefully just drip just enough that can be used as a solvent for any of the more stubborn patches of grease. Again, we've got the SatLink. All of these are exactly the same design, and I've actually already done a test with this blue one, and you can see that it's already picked up quite a bit of dirt just off pushing it up and down one small piece of track, and I was just experimenting to see whether it worked better with or without the IPA. The couplings you can easily change. We've got a single screw there, and Bachmann do sell the slimline version of couplings, which can quite easily just replace these if you are bothered about it matching up with your rolling stock. Although the larger, older style Bachmann tension lock couplings do couple to the newer slimline, albeit not as snugly as some people might like. Currently in the TMC autumn sale, these are 45% off, which makes them $29.99, and we're going to put them to the test to see just how good a track cleaning car they are. So I've got some isopropyl alcohol here, and I've got a syringe with a nozzle on the end just to better control the flow of this IPA, and just going to put that in there and very carefully draw an amount, a small amount, up into this syringe, and then put the top on that because I don't want fumes, and I also don't want to spill it by accident. So quite easy to just drip a little bit of this onto the pad. We don't want to make it absolutely sopping wet, but just enough there that is now going to act as a solvent for any stubborn patches. So one of the things that I've noticed on my layout is that we do have some difficult to access places such as tunnels, and right over where I have to lean over and run the risk of damaging scenery items. But I've been running some of the trains now for a couple of hours, trying to build up a level of dirt on the tracks. And the ABC shuttle that I've got a Hornby Class 153 on is showing signs of dirt. And as you can see in the video, this manifests itself as a kind of sticking sensation. As the wheels spin up, it loses traction, and then it struggles to get over certain parts. Other areas, the track is cleaner, so it grips, and it gives this almost like this struggling feel to the motion of the train. So that's going to be our test area, and I'm going to just couple that Class 153 up with this brake van. I've got the IPA there on the pad, and I'm going to see just how quickly and easily this makes a difference to the running of that train. And what I will say is that if I were to try and clean this with one of those track rubbers, then this is an area that it would take quite a bit of work. I'd have to lean over at a strange angle, and I just run the risk of breaking any of the scenic items that are between me and that track. So hopefully we're going to be able to retire this Pico track rubber. So it's done the full run of cleaning, and I'm just going to disconnect the brake van, and then let's see just how well this works now. You remember that we had a few stumbling points when it was running backwards and forwards. We're going to see whether this cleaning brake van has cleared all of those up. Already I can see that it's doing really well. There's no more of that slowing down and feeling almost like the rail car is getting stuck in places. It's going through all that point work just fine, and straight down the back straight as well. I don't see any hint of that slowing down that we saw in places before. Once the rail car has done its turnaround at the end, it's coming back, and now this is where I'm going to watch it really, really closely. If you remember, just here we had some stumbling, and on this trip, after the brake van has worked its magic, it just glides straight through. Now the reason I chose the Class 153 from Hornby is because it's quite light and it only has drive to one bogie, and that means that it's probably more susceptible than anything else to be hung up on slippery track. And it's not so much the electrical continuity that's the issue here, it's quite simply grip. And you can see that that cleaning brake van has really made a huge difference, and we've not taken a track rubber at all to any of this track. it's cleaned it without leaving any kind of debris from the track rubber. And the other thing that you have to remember with track rubbers is that they can put micro scratches into your rail head, and over time that provides a key for dirt to build up faster. We've got none of that here at all. So overall, I'm going to call this a total success. Now I'm going to look at the underside of the brake van, and just bringing this up to the camera, you can see that we've got the deposit where the IPA has helped lift the dirt and the pad has cleaned it away. So there's two lines appeared, and that says to me that this brake van has done its job and has managed to clean quite a bit from that railhead. If I take one of the unused brake vans, you can see the difference there between the two, and that shows that this really has done wonders on a track that to the naked eye didn't seem particularly dirty, but the Class 153 showed that there was a lack of adhesion in places, and that's exactly what this brake van has sorted out. I'm also going to put the brake van to the test. Here it is on the main line, and the reason for this will come clear if you actually look at Weir Yard. Along the back edge here, it's really difficult to reach right over. Where that train's going, that is just beyond comfortable reach, and that means that things in the foreground become prone to getting damaged as I lean over. These cleaning brake vans take all of the difficulty out of that. Another really important area where this cleaning brake van comes into its own is in cleaning the track inside the tunnels. Access to the inside of the tunnels is almost impossible, and this is something that's quite a common occurrence when you get carried away with the building. With the cleaning brake van run through the tunnel a few times, the track is now clean in there. And that's something that I've never been able to adequately do in all the years that Weir Yard has been up and running. Bringing the train round, I'm just going to stop it here and let's take a look at the pads on the underside of that brake van. You can see that there's even more black and mucky dirt on that pad, and once again, just comparing that to an unused track cleaning brake van, you can see the difference. The other area that I want to put this brake van cleaner to the test is on the Torture Test track. Now this is a loop on Weir Yard that takes in a lot of twists and turns and gradients as well, and this really shows up the build-up of dirt. Quite apart from the Radius 1 curves, there's also a few areas where it's really difficult to clean without coming up against the scenery that's in front. There are also some really stubborn stains here, and this will be a good test to see just how quickly the brake van track cleaner manages to break through this black grime. On top of that, there's a tunnel on a steep curve as well, going through the mountain and re-emerging over here. And then we've got a steep gradient back down around towards Radius 1 curves and some quite complex point work. Normally when I'm running trains on this area, it very quickly shows up a build-up of dirt on the track long before it can actually be seen, and this is where trains that were running just fine start to slow down and stop on the gradients. For this, I'm going to take a new brake van cleaner car, and I'm going to see just how much dirt we can get from this track. I'm going to soak the pad with some IPA, and then I'm going to connect that up. I'll attach the train behind and then let it head off and see just how much dirt that car picks up on this track. With the train having gone all the way round a number of times, I think I counted about 5, I'm going to bring it to a halt here. And let's just see how much dirt that brake van has picked up. We've got a very clear demarcation of the dirt that these pads have lifted from the rails. And again, let's compare that with an unused brake van. On large layouts, this makes a huge difference. If you've got a lot of track to clean, track rubbers just don't cut it. These are also much more gentle to your track, and they reach the areas that a track rubber just can't go. After 4 or 5 trips round, it's really started to break that black up. There's still a few patches. That was, after all, a very stubborn patch, but that brake van is getting through it. All in all, they're not a bad addition to your fleet, and with these brake van liveries, it does mean that they're going to blend in far more than a Continental or a US outline track cleaning car would. You can run these in your freight trains, and they'll help to keep your track clean. The track here on Weir Yard hasn't been particularly cleaned much at all, so once you're back on top of the track cleaning, it's really just a case of using these for occasional maintenance, just to make sure that all is well. Well, I hope you really enjoyed today's video and found it informative, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments section down below, just what you thought about these track cleaning cars from the TMC autumn sale. We do have a link down below as well to help you find them, but I'd love to know if any of you guys have purchased these and just what you found about them on your layout. It's also great to hear from you if you've used other brands of track cleaning cars, or maybe you've got a method that you want to share with your fellow modelers. Leave your comments down below. It's a great way to share your experiences. And until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling, bye for now. Today's video comes in association with Trainomatic, makers of DCT decoders and accessories that are designed by enthusiasts for enthusiasts. Find the full range available to order now at tramfabrique.co.uk. Additional support is provided by...
This is Clark Railworks, and this is what we do. You'll know us from Ellis Clark Trains, and you'll get the same friendly expertise with us too. We've got a huge range of pre-owned model railways from all your favourite manufacturers, and maybe some you hadn't heard of before. It's the place to come for quality. We don't stock substandard models, and everything we sell is fully tested and photographed by model railway experts. No matter whether you model OO gauge, N, HO or more, we have sought after models from all around the world with new listings added every weekday. Check out what's available now at clarkrailworks.com, and don't miss out on your latest logo.
I'd like to thank everybody over on Patreon, and an extra special huge thanks goes out to our Patreon heroes. Without you guys over on Patreon, we really wouldn't be able to keep making the video content that you see on this channel. And don't forget that you can also head on over to patreon.com/Jennifer Kirk and check out the different tiers of rewards. Thank you so much. You are absolute legends.